Sounds good. So, I'm going to do the set. Okay, here's what we're going to do. 101, FNA 1, FNA 2, and let's do 101 first, and then we're going to do like different things. Like, for example, I want to recruit a real estate agent. Well, you just master this, Danny, what I'm going to show, and you show this to a real estate guy, you got good 80% chance. If they're open, you're recruiting. Right? So I'll go real estate, WFG. Everybody follow me? Yeah.
Yes.
We'll do that kind of stuff. Everybody like that? Or?
Yes.
Yeah. So we'll do that with different things. And in the F&A, we'll do the same thing. For example, renting versus owning. So we'll just cover, remind me as we go, and we'll pull the best from each other, okay? All right. Sounds good. So we'll use red. Let me see if this is enough. No. So we got to go to this one. All right. All right. How are you guys? Good?
Great.
Good?
Yeah.
All right. What brings you guys in?
We wanna know more about what you do. My mom was telling me that we should sit down with you guys.
Yeah.
She's got started in the business and she's excited. She shared with us what you guys are doing and we're curious.
I'm curious, huh? Okay, sounds good. So we got, me and Miriam have been a part of the company now for the last, I don't know, 13 years, yeah. So we got married her, babies, business, the whole thing. So it's all in the same year. Anyway, I don't know what I'm telling you guys that, but anyway.
So we got married, we got started in the business all within 1 year.
Oh,
So
wow.
we went through a very fast start.
Wow.
So we started part-time for about 6 months. We transitioned in full-time, and we never looked back since. You know, so we set our family free. So this is a good business, right? So if there's a fit, maybe this is for you. If it's not, maybe there's some people you care about that can benefit from our conversation here today. I mean, at the very least. So I want you to think about that too. You know, so. And also, one of the things I want you to think about is what else, if it's not this, what else are your options, right? Because for majority of people, you take a look at Uber right now, they're recruiting left and right. They got kiosks in the mall. The average foreclosure could have been stopped with an extra $400 a month. So that tells you how big the need is for Uber and all these part-time gigs that are around now. Airbnb, this, that, right? And there's all sorts of stuff. And there's a big need to make additional income. The question is, what's your method in making that additional income? All right, so I want to share with you guys a what's called cash flow quadrant. I learned this when I first got started. You ever heard of it? Cash flow quadrant, by chance? No. Okay, it's by Robert Kiyosaki. He's well-known author. He has a couple books that are #1 seller. Cash flow quadrant and Rich Dad Poor Dad. So I'll just cover it. You don't have to buy the book. In 2 minutes, I'll break down the entire thing. So in the book, it talks about there's 4 legal ways we make income. Okay, so the first one is we're an employee. So usually we're W-2 income. And where do you work right now?
I work at Wells Fargo.
Oh, wow. How long have you been doing
20 years.
20. You must love it then.
It's got its good days and not so good days, and a lot of times right now it's not so good days.
Got it. So usually, I mean, if you make more money the next year than the last, usually as their income goes up, usually what goes up also?
Your taxes.
Taxes, right? So we make more money, we get more tax, and so most people they have, or at least if there's a lack, right? What do you do, Marvin?
Bike shop.
Bike shop. Okay, this is a great example. So most people, if there's a lack of income, right? Usually they'll find something self-employed, and usually they want to be self-employed because they want to have their own time. They're tired of dealing with someone, right? And control their income there. But a lot of times, this is not all, but a lot of times the challenge is, right? Instead of having a job, they just bought one because they're working 5, 6, 7 days a week, sometimes 40, 60, 80-hour weeks to make the same or even less money. Or even if they make more.
Did I not tell you that?
No. This is the experience I've had.
Right.
So even if they make more money, you catch them in a quiet corner and you go, how's it really being self-employed, Marvin? And what they'll tell you is they go, man, I make a little bit more money, but I don't have a life. Right? I'm like out all the time, right? I don't have a life. And so a lot of times, most people are self-employed, they go, man, let me just go back to a job, weekends off, Labor Day off, right? Off at 5, weekends off, and not worry about that. But what happens when they go back to a job, they meet the same guy they didn't like, which is the boss, right? Or coworkers, whatever, office politics, whatever it might be, or their pay is not enough, they're not paid what they're worth, and they go back being self-employed again. The challenge with both of this is what he covers there. Both areas, I'm constantly trading time for money. Okay? So the challenge with that, with constantly trading time for money, if I get a bigger home, a better car, I have less time. So think about it for a second. For majority of people I speak to, the most important thing to them and their future is their family, usually, right? So every time I want something better and bigger for my family, I get less time. So constantly less time. So bigger home, I got less time now because I got to work more or work on another shift, right? Especially I work with nurses. They go, man, I can just, they'll tell me, they go, man, I just pick up another shift for a car payment. Well, what happens with another car payment, right? I mean, eventually your days are gone, and the only thing equal between you and me is the 24 hours we got.
Yeah.
Right? So and we call this the rat race. It's constant trading time for money, right? You've got where it's an exchange, right? And so as long as I'm trading time for money, we don't have what's called lifestyle, right? And so to create lifestyle or financial independence, what I've learned is there's two areas we help out in, right? So one is the second or third quadrant is a business owner. So B stands for business owner. A lot of people that are self-employed, they think they own a business, but really they're self-employed. Because if it requires myself to be there, then I'm self-employed, right? So that's a business owner. So what's the difference between a business owner and self-employed, right? And so I get that question asked a lot.
And I was going to ask that question because it seems like we're kind of in this area right here, and we want to know what's that. And we thought we have a business. That's the whole purpose of why, he owned his bike shop so we can have a business, but we're not having our lifestyle, and we just found that we're not having enough time and enough money.
Yeah, that's it. So you take a look at it. The primary difference between a business owner and self-employed is they have a system, right? So think about it. Typical McDonald's owner, you won't see him come greet you at the door, right? They buy it because it's something that's systematic, and so think about it. Would it be crazy for somebody to say, I don't have a background in McDonald's, therefore I can't have it, right? It's everybody can operate one.
Right.
Well, we've done the same thing in the financial industry. Okay, so 98% of people we work with don't have a background in the industry, right? So we help out people get in the B quadrant where they can have cash flow from a business, and then the I stands for investor. Instead of me working for money, my money's working for me, right? So think about this for a second. If I told you the only way to become financially independent is my income needs to come from here, what's your method in getting there?
I wouldn't know because we're in this quadrant right here as an employee. So I'm thinking that's the only way to do it.
Or buy a
You know what I mean?
franchise.
So the point I'm having this conversation is not to knock down anything, but the point is to just share with you guys. I mean, if there's nothing else you pick up from today, but you come up with a solution to fix this, then you'd be far better off than millions of people, right? Because most people, they'll plan more for a vacation than they do their financial life.
That's true.
So how many of you, if you want to become financially independent, right? Do you want to be in a position where you're financially independent? So if you do, the answer is, what's my plan to get to one of these, right? So I either need to have a business that provides me cash flow to pay all my bills, so I have time, or I have an investment that pays all my bills, right? So whether it's pension, 401k, which a lot of times most people don't have, or there's a lack of, or market crashes, right? So we help out in these two areas. So the beauty of what we do, whether someone's an employee, business owner, self-employed, we help them get to their income on this side of the quadrant. And if we can help them get on this side of the quadrant, then obviously they'll be in a position where they're financially free.
That's awesome. That sounds like something we want to know more about. I
Yeah,
mean,
absolutely.
what we're at right now, how do you do that?
I'll show you. So this is one area, okay? So we got, let me go to the next area here. So we help out families in 4 areas. Pretty simple, right? There's 4 areas we help out in, right? So one, we help them out in the areas of growing their money. How many people you know that want to grow their money? right? And so, second, and more important than growth, we talk about safety. How many of you guys know people that grow their money, but more importantly, they keep,
You lose it.
they lose it, or how many know people that want to keep it safe? Right? They want to keep their money safe there. So, a quick illustration on this, right? When we talk about safety, if this is 2008, right? This is 08, right? And most people's money is here. And what if I told you our accounts, they actually lock it up here. The accounts actually lock up here. When they go down, it stays here. When it starts to go back up, it actually starts from here,
Wow.
not from here.
I definitely want to know more about that.
This is what the wealthy know. And again, we're in the education business where we educate people on how money works. That's plain and simple. So when we first got started, we started our marriage in 40 grand in debt, 3 car payments, couple homes. We looked good on the outside, but broke inside. I mean, it's just we didn't know where the next car payment was going to come from. We just wanted to impress everybody we didn't like anyway. It was just a bad deal. I mean, we were stressed out every day, and so to us, when we learned about this, one was literally just to have some peace of mind. I mean, that's what I found out later on once we got rid of a lot of this stuff, is to have some peace of mind in this area. And we wanted to share it with other families. I mean, that was it. That was the beginning. That's how we started off part-time.
Wow.
We just shared what we experienced and shared it to others, and a byproduct of it was we made money off of it.
Wow.
Right? So that's safety, right? So let's go back to the other one. I lost it. Oh, there.
Okay.
Where we at? Oh,
Yeah.
here. Nice. All right, so growth and safety. So that's safety. Growth is basically, I only have a certain amount of time to grow my money, right? So there's this smart guy named Albert Einstein and Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin came up with it. Albert Einstein called it the 8th wonder of the world, and they said, they came up with what's called Rule 72. Have you guys heard of it before?
I haven't. No.
Okay, they didn't teach you in Wells Fargo?
They don't teach us
Oh my
that.
God! All right, so man, you're gonna sue Wells Fargo after this. No, I'm kidding. All right, so it's a very simple concept, and we'll just share that concept. It's basically we take the interest rate 1, and all they're saying is, if our question, Marvin, our question is, how long will it take our 10 grand to double to 20? That's it. Very simple.
Okay.
Right? How do we take our 10 and double it to 20, and how much time will it take?
Okay.
Right? And if we're getting 1% in the bank, it's a very simple calculation. It's Rule 72 because you just divide it into 72.
Okay.
So 1 goes to 72.
72 years.
So 72 years for our money to double, Marvin.
Wow.
How do you feel about
In a
that?
bank?
Well, anywhere. I mean, anywhere at
You
1%.
should get out soon.
Okay? So the question is, the bank gets 10 at least at the minimum, because they've been getting 12.7 since the Great Depression. 10 goes to 72, what?
7.2.
7.2 years.
Wow.
So while our money sits there, they're doubling every 7 years, and we're getting older.
Yep.
The bank doesn't go away. They're a corporation. They've been around for hundreds of years.
And that's exactly
They got
what
time.
we-
That's what they have, time. We don't have time. So the question is, would you rather invest in the bank, or would you rather invest where the bank's putting their money?
Where the bank's putting their money.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Another question. If we can teach you where the bank puts their money, in a place where it can grow and it's safe, how would you feel about that?
Great.
Right? How many friends of yours would need to know this information right now? If I can show you that.
Every one of them.
You guys see this? You need to plug this in. That's how you get referrals. So someone says, how do you get referrals? How do you get well, you're not planting the seed. You need to plant the seed while you're conversating. And this needs to be a conversation, not a presentation. That's why I like drawing it out. Remember, we used to use brochures, and I think brochures are for amateurs. Right? This is something you can leave to them, but we shouldn't be going over a brochure like this. They can read. Right? They can read what the brochure says. But I want to have a conversation. Isn't that what we had?
That's right.
We had a conversation,
That's right.
and that's what led to, seeing it bigger. Just, So, anyway, let me go back to this. I'm getting too excited here, so. Me too. Me too. How many of you guys ready to, attack and present this, right? There's so many people that need to know this. All right. So, where are we at? Third one. What's the third one? I'm like, oh, I got it.
Train the trainer.
All right. So, tax advantage, right? So how many of you, or for you guys, right? You take a look at one of the things we help out with is with tax advantage. So we help out people with reducing taxes now, maybe for some businesses, and more importantly, at retirement, where you can have possibly a good amount of your retirement tax free. How many of you guys ever heard of that?
I have not heard of that.
So
I know there's something like a Roth, but that's about it.
Yeah. So Roth, yeah, we have like a supercharged Roth IRA. That's kind of,
Really?
yeah, it's a little different. Yeah.
Okay.
But we have Roth also and all that. But this is so tax advantage. We talk about saving and taxes and all that. The last one here is protection. So what do we protect? We protect. So for me, for example, I protect my income. Something happens to me, I got 4 kids. I got to protect, my income. Something happens, everything is like disaster. I mean, everything collapses. My wife is not going to be able to work right away. I mean, so I got to protect my income, number one, right? Second thing, I protect my assets, right? Protect my assets. And then my health or long-term care, right? Long-term care, disability, right? Long-term care or disability. So, so anyway, we protect those 4 areas. We call this the 4 cornerstones of a great financial future. Right? So as you look at this right now, in your current situation, what does your current investment or financials have these 4 things?
No.
If the answer is no, maybe there's some things you can learn here. You guys agree?
Agree.
Yeah. All right. So that's it. Okay. And lastly, so I went over 2 concepts now. You guys getting value so far?
Yeah.
Okay. Last one.
I'm excited. Tell me more.
I'll show you the money. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Before we do that, actually, let me just go back to the other one. All right. Did I erase everything? Hopefully not. No, I didn't. Okay. So before I do that, I just want to point out, you can do this in the FNA. I'm not going to do it right now. We'll do it at the FNA. Okay. All right. So lastly, okay. Lastly here. Okay, that's fine. Is lastly, I want to show you the income. So why I got started here, how I transitioned from part-time to full-time, how I replaced my income. All right. So basically, there's 4 ways we make income. So first one is we have personal income. Okay. So personal income. Here's what that means. I help out a family. So remember what I just showed you.
Yeah.
Growth, safety. Average family we help out saves $300 to $400 a month in a vehicle similar that gives all 4 of them.
Okay.
All 4 of those benefits.
Yeah.
It gives a family all 4 of the benefits. It allows them to grow their money, right? Keep it safe. Put them in a position. Where there's tax advantage and they have protection for their family, right? So think about it. How many families they can put an extra $300-400 a month and enhance their future?
A lot of families, a lot of people, a lot of our friends actually.
That's $10 a day. A lot of times, just people blow out here and there.
Some of my coworkers, a lot of them.
Yeah, right there, right? So personal income. So let's say you put yourself in a position where you help out 1 family a week, right? The business takes 6 to 8 weeks to kind of know all this stuff and learn it. Is it worth it? Yeah, I'll show you why, right? So you help out 1 family a week. Average family putting away $300 to $400 a month. Right, you got 1 family a week. The average family we help out, we just call it points. It's just a way we track things. So 3,000 points. The average contract's on a 45%. So that's $1,350. Let me tell you how long it takes to help out a family. Obviously, there's some legwork in the beginning to learn the craft, right? But anything you do in the beginning, it's awkward in the beginning, and it becomes mechanical, and then afterwards, it's natural. It's like riding a bike. Even if you haven't ridden it in 10 years, so you can just hop on one and go, right? So $1,350. This takes 2 hours worth of work.
Wow.
Right? So you put yourself in a position where you're at $675 an hour. So one of the reasons a lot of people are able to transition from part-time to full-time is because what they're making full-time, their full-time nightmares.
Yeah.
They can, they're what they're making full-time, they can make part-time here. So they work part-time on their dreams while they're at full-time or their nightmares. Yeah.
Do this.
Yeah. Okay. Right? So they put this out. So now think about it. You help out 4 families a week. You're at $4,000 to $6,000 a month part time. Right? How many people? How much Uber driving that someone needs to do that? Right?
Unlimited.
Yeah. Right. So usually a couple $100 a day is Uber. Right. So they're
That's
working,
crazy.
midnights and all that stuff. So All right, so next thing is training income. So I grabbed Danny. Let's use Danny here as an example. So I grab Danny. We go out in the field, right? I help him out, right? We'll go out and field train. Now he learns the business. You guys learn the business. Danny learns the business, right? Learns the business and how to transact and help out families. Let's say let's say I help out 5 associates do that. Not 100, not 200, 5, right? How many guys can five people that need a part-time income? Anybody here?
Yeah.
Everybody here, right? So 5 people that need make an extra $3-4 grand. I'm not talking about making $200-300 grand. I'm talking about making a couple extra thousand a month, right? And they're helping out 2 families a month. The entire month they help out 2, not 4, 2. Okay, so that's 2. That's 10. Everybody follow me?
Mm-hmm.
So times 3,000 points. That's what?
30,000.
30,000. Your average management spread, even when you first get started here, right? You can get average of 20%, right? So that's what? $6,000,
Wow.
right? So you got an income here at 4 to 5,000, an extra 6 there. Where you at now? Like 10 or 11,000, right? And this is, a lot of times I help out 5 to 6 a day, just so you have an idea, okay? So that's training income. The second thing, and I'm sure you've been you've coached people before or led a team and all that, right? So it's the same thing, right? We build a team here, right? We build a team. We coach people to win.
We gotta recruit.
We gotta recruit, right? Coach people to win, right? Bring out the best out of them, right? So that's part of training and all that stuff. And in lieu of that, you get paid the management spread for helping them out.
You lead a team.
Yeah.
You got a management spread?
I like that.
Yeah, that's it. How many people do you have in Wells Fargo you leading there?
30.
30. Yeah, 30. So this is 5.
Wow.
And they're all part-time. I'm 30, I'm sure they're all full-time, right? Yeah, right there. So third area is expansion income. So make it green. Okay, expansion income. So what does this mean? You going out, you go, man, where do you guys live?
Chino Hills.
Chino Hills, okay. Chino Hills. So you guys in Chino Hills, and if we put a 5-mile radius in where you live, we don't have a location there of ours, right? So you guys go, man, I'm ambitious, I'm entrepreneurship, I can see myself having my own location. So if you're going, what's in it for me, right? I teach you everything I know. In fact, I'll teach you how to get it faster, quicker, better, right? Because a lot of the stuff I messed up on, you don't have to. Right? So you guys learn the business. 6 to 8 average expansion is 6 to 18 months, right? Just depending on your commitment, all that stuff. You spend some time with us, spend some time in our system. You learn the business, and you come out. Let's say in 10 months, and you go open up your own location. What the company does is they give me a 17% royalty on your business, not coming from you, coming from the company. They pass down to me as a royalty.
Okay, so it's not.
So we would be in the same exact contract. You and me would be in the same exact contract. The difference is because I helped you guys out, the company passes on a royalty to me.
And we could do that too.
You can do the same. Right? So now, here's the thing. Because you've built the business before, and you're in Wells Fargo, so you see this all the time. You cannot, the challenge with most businesses is you just attract followers. Because once you got a leader, they leave you. Here's the beauty here. I can attract leaders and retain them.
Wow.
That's big. Right
That's
there.
huge.
Right? So now I can attract CEOs of companies, business owners, right? And all that, and they can be me.
That's a whole different level.
I look at majority of companies, and I look at their team, it's just a bunch of followers. You know, there's nothing significant, right? So when you can build a business with leaders in it, game over. And that's what we got here. So that's an expansion income. So you can attract leaders and retain them. Right? So now I'm talking to Danny and Melody. This is a conversation I'm having. Because now the question is, forget the 1,000 people you know. I want to know who the 7 to 10 key people that are most influential. We get them, the rest is done. Yeah, that's it.
So basically.
And that's how it's explained. So listen up, guys. In your conversation, how's your language? Does it sound like some deal, some scam? I mean, because when you get those kind of objections, it's because your verbiage is that of one. right? You sound like one. That's why, right? Oh, recruiting or what that, you know, I don't know, whatever the verb is. It doesn't matter. You don't have to have that accent, by the way. It just came out like that. But the point is, how's your language when it comes to this? Right? That's like, I mean, they go, oh, is this multi-level? I haven't got that for like, I don't know, 8 years, 7, like I don't get that objection. I usually get it when you give me your contact. And you want me to call them, usually the objection is there. It's because probably you had a conversation with them prior to me having a conversation. And that's how they perceive the business of one of those deals. Multi-level, scam, this, network marketing, whatever it is, right? So just keep that in mind. So maybe adjust some language on the way you talk about the business. I talk about royalties, like just like franchises are built on royalties. Well, that's how it works here. Keep in mind, we are a hybrid. Just to give you some mindset, right? When you're talking language, what the company did, they took the #1 industry, the financial industry, the highest paying industry outside of entertainment and sports. We can't make 300 million like Mayweather, but we can make something, you know, in the millions, right? But highest paid industry outside of entertainment and sports is the financial industry. You're in it, right? So for the people that don't have the entertainment and sports talent, this is it, right? So this is your only shot to making it big time. Now, second, so that's one. Highest paid industry. Here's the challenge. They're biased. They look down at people. The majority, all of it is, it's a dying industry right now. The trust has been lost. So, I mean, I can kind of keep going, right? The trust has been lost in the industry. There's very little trust. So, they would rather do business with people like us than people from the industry. That's our edge. That's our edge there. So, we looked at network marketing. What's the challenges with network marketing? What's the pros and what's the con? Here's the pro. Pro is they talk about personal improvement, growing, all that stuff. The challenge, most of them, 98% are broke. Average income in Amway is 7 cents a month. 7 cents. Pennies. 7 pennies. I can throw at someone, right? A month. So obviously you can't live, right? I don't care if you were born in 1901, 7 cents is not going to live, right? You can't live even in 1901. So that's the challenge. So they looked at that side of it. The third one is the franchise model. The franchise model, the challenge with it is you got to come up with $500,000 or more to even have a legit business, right? You want a McDonald's, now we got to talk about a couple million. So we looked at those 3 models and we said we're going to create a hybrid of all 3 and make it work. We're going to have a model like a franchise where we can duplicate, systematic, no one needs to have a background, anyone of different walks of life can operate it. We're going to take the financial industry and every distrust, hate, everything that people hated about it, and we're going to get rid of it, toss it in a corner, and change our approach. Which the approach is educational approach versus sales approach, right? That's why we don't sell on the first visit, all that stuff. That's part of the approach. Okay? And then the network marketing side is just relationship marketing. That's all that is. How do we market and open up new markets with relationship? Because there's a book called Speed of Trust. It's by the son of Stephen Covey, which the book is crap, but the title's good. Okay? So you don't have to pick it up. But in the book, there's just one sentence there that talks about good stuff in it, right? Which is, he said, the reason people build, the businesses, they studied businesses. They did the study of studying all the businesses. And I've seen business that we studied that had trust in it and business that had no trust. And obviously, a business with no trust, leadership, the basis of all leadership is trust. Right? Without it, there's no company. There's no, there's no any of that. So he said one of the things I found with businesses that has a high level of trust, that's why you got to do the right thing 100% of the time, because you can't afford it. That's how you have people that disappear and then you got to rebuild again, right? Because you screwed up. Is high level of trust. There's speed in their organization with success. There's speed in everything, right? That's why it's speed with trust or speed of trust, right? So anyway. That's just a side note on the mindset on when you're covering this. This is what we have in the real world. That's how it operates. So when you're having conversations, right there, that's you're showing it as a platform to own a business and have freedom. That make sense? Have like a franchise. Okay? And depends who you're talking to. I mean, if they're more sophisticated, I can kind of go over more like which I did with you guys, but for some people you don't need to. I mean, I can go over all the royalties, 6, 4, you get it, all the way to the 6th generation there. I mean, but for some people, I mean, there's no need for that conversation. Some they do, you know, so just play it by ear, use some common sense. Okay? Everybody follow me?
Yes.
Now, let's average location we have does $500,000 in production. 17% of that is 85,000. I think that's right. 85,000. What if you develop 5 people that open up their own location or have their own agency?
Yeah.
How much is that income? That's almost $500,000. So let's say it took you, I don't know, 5 years to do it. Let's say even 7. How long have you been in Wells Fargo?
20 years.
20. Let's say it took you 10. Would it be worth it?
Yes.
That make sense?
Yes.
Most people spend corporate time for 30, 40 years and retire still barely making it. Right?
I think it's too much time.
Yeah. I mean, so you gotta put yourself in a position where you got a vehicle that has the earning power. One of the things I learned here when I first got started is this vehicle has earning power. So my earning power at Uber is, I don't care how much time you put in, but there's a certain earning power. Does that make sense? So that earning power, I mean, it's whatever it is, right? I think they did a math, it's like at the most $20 an hour. But they haven't counted the depreciation of the car and
Yeah.
all sorts of stuff. The maintenance, it doesn't count that. So it's $20 an hour,
Okay.
right? So you look at here, what's my earning power? That's really where you want to be. So if you want to enhance your financial, you know, or your income, then you got to look at earning power. What's your earning power? So this is just 3, right? This is 3 ways we make income. The last one is bonuses, and we get this monthly, not annual. It's not based on like attendance. It's bonuses, right? It's bonuses. We get it monthly, and it's based on the amount of families we help, right? Which is pretty neat. This is the amount of families we helped here in our agency. Everything is based on the families we help. Amount of families we help in our agency. So this is our own agency. This is, and then the next one is the leadership development. So this is the leadership that I develop, that I personally mentor. We call them senior marketing director, so that I help out. Remember I was talking about 17% here?
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's what that is. So I would get a bonus based on how they do. The people I help out directly. And the third one is we call it super team. We get a bonus on the entire team, basically, on how the performance of the entire team. That make sense?
That
Yep.
makes sense.
Yeah. So when I first saw this, man, I want to. You obviously can make income in all 4 areas, right? I can make income on here, training income, expansion, personal. So anyway, that's that. That's kind of quick snapshot of what we do.
I love it.
Yeah. If I didn't do all the other stuff, it's about 30 minutes, 20, right? 20, 30 minutes. Yeah. You guys see that?
Yeah.
If we cut down all the explanation on